Hello and good morning friends, welcome to the CEC-UGC live lecture. Dear friends, with our ongoing series on organizational behavior, today we would be talking on group dynamics, and for this very discussion we have once again with us in our studios Dr. Namita Rajput. Dr. Namita Rajput is a principal in Sri Aurobindo Evening College, University of Delhi. So let's welcome our guest Dr. Namita Rajput and let's try to grab maximum knowledge through her experience. Hello ma'am, welcome to the UGC lecture.
Good morning friends. Today we have a very important and interesting topic called group dynamics. Now, as you all know, groups are vital part of the organization. We have n number of groups running in an organization. Some are formal groups, some are informal groups. But yes, the groups which are informal in nature, they play a very vital role because they make sense to the people. They make, the social needs are so strong that people go in by the informal needs. And the informal groups play a very important role to achieve the formal goals of the organization. So in this backdrop, let us start what the group dynamics is all about. Groups are an important component of the organization structure, and the managers should manage them properly to make them contribute towards the formal organizational goals. Managers cannot avoid informal groups in the formal organization structure. They should make them contribute to technical and task-related aspects of the various jobs. Now, keeping this into consideration, let us have a concept and the meaning of what the group is all about. Group is a collection of two or more persons who interact with one another in a systematic manner and share a common goal. A group means two or more people who interact with one another, are psychologically aware of one another, perceives themselves to be the members of the groups and work towards a common goal. Group is different from mere the collection of people. Collection of people sitting in the library or a cinema hall or bus stop cannot be called as a group. It is a mere aggregation of the people. Interaction, power to influence and interdependence of individuals in this aggregation makes it a group. Members of the group share a common goal and are united by the formal systems of interaction and the shared values. Now, keeping this into consideration, the various definitions given by various psychologists in this regard, let us do the concept of the meaning of the group and what the particular features of the group are all about. Now, as we have seen in this particular slide, that we have done the concept and the meaning of a group, which tantamounts to interaction of the people in one another, with one another, and definitely they share a very common and important goal. Now, once they have a common goal, they are shared values. So we are not talking about the goal as a mere collection of people. Like there are people, so many people sitting, in the cinema hall watching TV, watching a movie, or there are people who are waiting for a bus on the bus stand. So they are the aggregation of people. So here the important concept is that we should be having a differentiation between the aggregation of the people and the group. The people who feel themselves connected to a group because they have a shared value, they have a common goal, so they get connected with each other. And definitely the aggregation is not important as far as the group formation is concerned. Now we as a people have different needs and we associate with different people, the like-minded people, and we definitely want to satisfy our social needs. So in this regard, slowly and steadily, because of the formal structure which is available in the organization, we get connected to various types of people who have a common and a shared value, who have a common goal to achieve. So we try to find out, the peace of mind amongst those people. So they are called as the informal groups. Informal groups are more pertinent and as far as the real working of the organization is concerned. Now there are certain features of the group. So let us talk about what are the particular features and the typical features of a group. The group has the following features. Number one, it consists of two or more persons who interact with one another. Group members have reciprocal influence on one another. Each member influences and is influenced by the others in a group. In group, people develop mutual perceptions, emotional ties with one another. They perceive themselves as a group and recognize one another as members of the group. Every group has a formal leader elected by the group members and is an informal leader who engages in the leadership activities, but whose right to do so has not been formally recognized by the organization or the group. So the first and the foremost feature of a group is that the people have the interactions among each other, number one. Number two, that all the members who are related to one group, they get influenced very easily from one another. If one person says something, the other person gets influenced because they are connected, they have a shared value, they have a common goal. But yes, as far as the common goal is concerned, they are connected through a formal system or the structure of the organization, which is very important to understand. But yes, under the formal structure itself, you can find there are so many groups working together in that organization. Those who feel that they are having a shared value and a common state of mind, they get connected. So as far as the formal system is concerned, we can have two or more than two groups there working in the formal organization as well. Now, as a matter of fact, the people who are in a particular group, they have certain kind of emotional ties. In terms of the emotional ties means what? They understand very well each other, they get connected with each other, and if one person says something, the other person very easily endorses that and takes this thing in mind that yes, we have to do it because we are having a same group. So at no cost the unity of the group is compromised. And as far as the leader is concerned, there is no formal declaration of a leader of a particular group. It emerges spontaneously, it emerges on its own, and the people have those qualities, they emerge as a leader and the others are the followers as far as the informal group is concerned. But yes, you should keep this in mind that there is no formal declaration that Mr. X is the leader of an informal group called A. It is very spontaneous, and those people have a quality to lead. They automatically become, and their particular voice is being heard in that particular group, so they are automatically declared as the leaders amongst that informal groups, which is very, very informal in nature. But yes, people try to follow them, and there are n number of followers because of your leadership qualities that individual has. Now in this case, when the groups are concerned, each individual plays a very significant and very specified role and enhances the expectation of the group members from each other. The role structure is the set of defined goals and the interrelationship among those roles that the group or the team members define and accept. Every group has group norms. Norms are called as the standards of behavior that the group accepts and expects of its members. It represents the standards of the work to promote the group activity. It maintains the stability in the structure through the group cohesiveness. Members of a group like one another develop a sense of identification with one another and remain attached to one group. The members of the group work for a common interest and a common goal. Now, as a matter of fact, every group has a particular norms. Norms are the bylaws, which are the informal structure and the ties of the emotions, interactions amongst the people. So, there is an automatic comprehension in this regard that people who are associated with one particular group, they try to understand each other very well. And as far as the group is concerned, there are so many other factors which you have to keep in mind, that the people who are, a part and the parcel of that particular group, they are not at all, against each other. Whatever happens for good. So definitely, there is a problem from the association point of view, that every group member, they have a particular ties, and every member try to associate with that particular, the notion and the formation of that particular group. Now let us come to the concept called group dynamics. The members need to manage the organization in a way that the group contributes to the organization and the group goals. How effectively a manager plans, organizes, staffs, leads and controls depends upon how effectively he manages the group. The group dynamics is the study of formation and functioning of the group. It deals with the factors and the forces that influence attitude and the behavior of the group members. So when you talk about the group dynamics, the people need to understand the organization, that you have to take the organization onto the heights. There are certain group goals which have to be satisfied, and how effectively a particular person takes a lead to satisfy all these things effectively, how the individual manages that group is called as the group dynamics in this regard. Now group dynamics is basically the study of the formation of the groups, how they are formed, how they are functioning, and of course what are the particular factors which is going to affect the attitude of the people and definitely the behavior of the group members in this regard. So the group dynamics in this regard means the concept was developed very nicely by Kurt Lewin. He is a social psychologist. It defines how a group is formed, how it conducts its operations, how the adaptations to the changing circumstances takes place, and how it affects the behavior and the performance of its members, and how they are going to solve its problems. So when you talk about the group dynamics, the basic frontiers, the basic dimensions of the group dynamic is immense. So it starts from the beginning of a group, that how the group is formed, on to the basic functioning of the group, that how it conducts its activities, how the basic functioning of the group is to be laid down. In case of any kind of the changing circumstances, how the people are going to react, what particular behavior the people are countering into, and because of the changing circumstances, what is the impact on the behavior of the people is also very important. And definitely how the group members are performing and how they are solving the real-time situations. So these are all a part and parcel of the group dynamics, right from the formation to the functioning to the conduct and to the overall control of that group is definitely envelops or is enveloped into a concept called group dynamics. Now let us come on to how the groups are developed, or what is the process of development of the groups. So group development process is basically a 5-stage model, and after the conclusion and the completion of these 5 stages, a particular group is formed and people start joining and try to function in that particular group. So let us have the insight of what these 5 stages are all about. The various stages are not necessarily of the same duration or intensity. Since it is a 5-stage model, every stage takes its own time and efforts are different, the comprehension is different, the culmination of the knowledge is different. So, for example, the storming stage may be practically non-existent or painfully long, and definitely depending upon the goal, clarity and the commitment and maturity of the members. This process comes to life when one relates the various stages to personal experiences with work groups, committees, athletic teams, social or religious groups, or the class project teams. Now when you talk about what are the 5-stage model of a group, we come across various 5 stages. Every stage is distinct in its nature. Every stage takes its own time. There is no particular defined time for each group, because every stage has its own plus and minus. It has its own particular points to be covered. So we give the example of the storming stage. It is a very painful stage. It takes very long for a person to be associated in a particular group. So let us have a look on the 5 stages first. Number 1, stage 1. Stage 1 is the forming stage, followed by stage number 2, which is called as a storming stage. Number 3 is the norming stage, in which the particular group norms are made. Number 4 is the performing stage, and number 5 is the adjourning stage. So let us have in detail all the 5 stages which is responsible for a group development process. Number 1 is the forming stage. So let me have a main center and the nucleus of each stages one by one. So when it comes to stage 1, that is the forming, members get to know each other and they seek to establish the ground rules. They talk to each other, there are strong interactions in the first stage itself, and if you feel that you have the same state of mind, you try and be a part of that group. So this is stage 1, that is the forming stage. Then comes the stage number 2, that is the storming stage. Storming stage perhaps is the most longer duration stage as far as the group development process is concerned. In this, the members come to resist a control by the group leaders and show hospitality. So this is a very important stage as far as the group formation is concerned. Number 3 is the norming stage, as the name suggests. The members work together, they develop a very close relationship and the feeling of comrade. Number 4 stage is a performing stage. The group members work together, getting their jobs done. So here the focus is on the performance. And the last stage is the adjourning stage. That is, the group may discard either their goals or the members leave. So once all the stages are complete, then definitely all the members, they feel comfortable, they stay, and the members who do not feel comfortable, they leave that particular group. So coming and going and staying or sustainability as far as the group membership is concerned is, it is known to us even after the 5th stage is concerned, that is the adjourning stage. Those who feel that yes, this is the kind of people you are looking for, this is the kind of association you are looking for, they stay. And the people who do not have a same state of mind, or the comprehension is different, or their mindset is different, or their psychology is different, they do not want to no longer be a part of that organization group, so they leave that particular group. So let me do these particular 5 stages in depth, so that you understand what are the basic insights of each stage and what each stage states and what is the role of each stage as far as the group development process is concerned. So let us first start from the forming stage, that is the stage number 1. So we must know what all the details are relating to it. During this ice breaking stage, that is the forming stage, group members tend to be very uncertain and anxious about such things as what their roles are about, who is in charge, and what are the group goals. Definitely, when you talk about the forming stage, the mutual trust is very low. There is a good deal of holding back to see who takes charge and how. So there is a lot of observation which is going on. There is observation of each and every individual during the forming stage. So, so that everyone sees who is most important, who is less important, who is performing, who is not performing, what an individual is doing, what an individual is not doing, who is coming forward, who is holding back. So these are the small particular observations which each one of them, they have a deep understanding and deep observation which is taking place in the forming stage, and after the conclusion of which they come to know that yes, these are the leaders, or these are the pertinent persons, these are the most vital persons who will be responsible for the group as far as the functioning and control is concerned. So eventually they step into the fulfilling of the need of the leadership and the direction. Now see, when you talk about the formal group or an informal group, without leadership qualities, without an individual who is ready to take the initiative, the group will be a failure definitely. Because they are the torch bearers, they are the leaders, they give the directions. So the first stage, automatically after the conclusion of the first stage, you will come to know that these are the torch bearers of the organizations, and they are most important to lead and give a good direction for a particular group to be starting. Number 2 stage is a storming stage. As the name suggests, this is the time of testing. Individual test the leadership policies and assumptions, and they try to determine how they fit into the power structure. There are subgroups, they take shape. There are subtle forms of rebellion, such as procrastination occur. Many groups stall into stage 2 because the power politics erupts into an open rebellion. Now, as the name suggests, the concept called storming. This is a kind of a testing period. Testing in terms of what is the politics going around, who are, into a power play. Because every organization, everyone wants to lead, not everyone, but yes, those who have got the enthusiasm, they want to lead that organization. So by default, if there are 2 persons coming up as the power forces, so there will be a tussle, there will be a problem that yes, I want to be a leader, or the other one will say that I want to be a leader. So basically, many groups will form, there will be a politics, deep politics, there will be an open rebellion. So after the conclusion of the second stage, you will be pretty sure about that yes, these are the leaders, and of course, these leaders will lead and give a good direction to the organization. Now coming on to a very important stage of the group development process, which is called as a norming stage. The groups that make it through the stage number 2 generally do so because as a respected member, other than a leader, challenges the group to resolve its power struggles so something can be accomplished. Questions about authority and power are resolved through a matter of fact of the group discussion. A feeling of team spirit is experienced because the members believe that they have found their proper roles. Group cohesiveness, defined as a we feeling that binds the members of the people group together, is the principal stage and the by stage of that particular norming stage. Cohesiveness has a small but significant effect on performance, specifically in the small groups. Commitment to task at hand has a most powerful impact on this link between cohesiveness and performance. Thus, organizations are advised to ensure that performance standards and goals are very clear and accepted, and to keep task groups small, no more than 5 members, unless there is a need for creativity, in which the case of the optimal size, group size would be somewhat larger. So, in the norming stage, we are here coming on to a consensus, we are here coming on to the group cohesiveness, we are coming out to a concept called team spirit. Now you have already formed the group under the forming stage. Then we had definitely a very important stage called the storming stage. So this particular norming stage is a kind of an acceptable stage in which people will try to be deeply connected with each other. A kind of a we feeling, a kind of a team spirit generates among all the people, and definitely all the people would like to play their vital and the proper roles which they are supposed to play. And a kind of a feeling and a team spirit will be at its best. So people will have definitely a very clear goals. They would like to perform their best under the the clear-cut norms of that group. So we talk about the team spirit, we talk about the group cohesiveness, and when you talk about the group cohesiveness, it is not very significant when the small group is concerned, because it is already very close-knit group. As and when the group becomes larger, the concept of cohesiveness takes a lot of and a lot of importance has to be taken care of in this regard. Now the stage 4 is a performing stage. Activity during this stage is focused on solving the task problems. As a member of a mature group, contributors get back their work done without hampering others. There is a climate of open communication, strong cooperation, and lot of helping behavior. The conflicts and disputes are handled constructively and efficiently. Cohesiveness and personal commitment to a group helps the group achieve more than they can act individually alone. The last stage is the adjourning stage. The work is done, it is the time to move on to other things. Having worked so hard to get along and get something done, many members feel a compelling sense of loss. The return to independence can be eased by the ritual celebration, the end, and the new beginnings. The parties' award ceremonies can provide a needed punctuation at the end of the significant group members, and leaders need to emphasize valuable lessons learned in the group dynamics to prepare everyone for the future group and the team efforts. So here the adjourning group is very important, because here this is the concluding stage, and the team leaders have to be very categorically defining about how the group performed, what were the shortfalls, what were the problems, so that they are well prepared for their future endeavors and to make the future groups very, very effective. Thank you so much. Now let us gauge a very important question, that how the groups, they influence the individual behavior. So it matter, the concept of the members of informal groups are guided by the common social and cultural values. These values promote the group goals and are further reinforced by the interaction among the group members. They fulfill the members' need of interaction, of being recognized and accepted by others. Members who are not recognized by the managers derive a sense of individuality as a part of the informal group. They solve work-related problems of their members in a very friendly and supportive manner. Now, this is a very important question, that how the group is going to influence the members' behavior. Now, if you see behind the veil, if you try to gauge this question, so it is very, very clear that all the group members, definitely they talk to each other, they have strong interactions among each other. So there is a very positive way in which they talk, they interact, and all the work-related problems are solved there and then. So this is how the group influence the members' behavior. They try and promote the members' skill of communication, leadership and direction, and make them worthy of promotion of higher post. They promote interaction amongst the members, and they develop a cordial work environment in the organization. They promote the inner strength of members and help them exploit the opportunities for the personal growth. They develop the group norms to make members learn the self-control and supervision. They improve the members' motivation and morale to contribute to group goals and the organizational goals. They overcome the stress and frustration of members by providing them friendship, love and support. So till now we have seen that there is a very significant role which the group plays, and they definitely influence an individual to a larger extent. Now, how do they influence? Because they have a small, very close interactions among each other. They talk to each other. They talk in a very, very different way in terms of discussing the politics which is going on, in terms of what their problems are all about, in terms of how they can achieve the organizational goals, in terms of if there are any shortfalls, they would give the direction that this is how you can solve the problems. So there are grievances, problems which are again taken up by the group leaders. So they try and have a very congenial and a good atmosphere in which the organizational goals can be very easily achieved. So they definitely influence them because all the members are a part of that group. So if there is any problem, they talk amongst each other. So this is very important. When the group interactions take place, there are so many people which automatically, gets influenced by the communication itself. And of course, they are rightly directed by the group leaders, which are definitely informal in nature. So they try and resolve all their basic problems so that the work is a very successful group. And in terms of the achievement, the organizational goals are achieved at its best. Now, definitely, when you talk about the one side, that is the positive aspects of the group to influence the individual behavior, we have the negative aspects also, because a group affects negatively also. So let us have this concept and explain it in detail. The social norms accepted by the members of the group. The conformity to the norms, it hinders the creativity of the group members to contribute towards the organizational goals. If the group norms are different from the organizational goals, members do not act differently for the fear of losing group approval. The negative attitude of leaders promote their vested interest rather than interest of the organization or the group members. So here we talk about that sometimes the leaders can be nasty, the leaders can be biased, the leaders can be lopsided. So if you want the group to be success, the leaders have also to be very particular about their strategies, their modus operandi, their pedagogies, so that all the group members have a positive influence of those leaders, not a negative influence. Because once this image is built that yes, this leader is a lopsided leader, or he's taking sides of someone, or he's biased in his approach, then he can never be a good leader, and slowly people will start exiting that group and you will be all alone in that organization. So to avoid this, the leaders have to be very meticulous in their work. They have to be very diligent in their activities. They have to be rational in their concept. Now, if the group goals are different from the organizational goals, the members pursue the group goals. This develops a conflict between the formal and the informal roles. Since the informal groups do not follow any formal official channel of the communication, they may spread false information or rumors, and this is definitely a counterproductive for the organizational activities. If the group norms and the values are carried too far, they become a source of resistance to change in the organizational working, and the groups becomes overprotective and about the group values, and they do not deviate from their values or norms. Now this is a very interesting concept in terms of the negative influence of the groups on the members. That, for example, there is a conflict between the informal and the formal roles. So this is one gray area where the group leaders can go wrong, because definitely at any cost the formal role of the people cannot be ignored, because this is of primarily the most important thing for which they are there, and the formation of the informal groups was spontaneous on the basis of that only. So this is number one. Number two, the organizational informal leaders, sometimes their behavior, their strategies are not up to the mark. They are very biased in their approach. So overall there is a negative spillover effect onto the members of that particular group. Then of course there is a scope for the rumors, because the people who are a part and parcel of the informal group, they very well get influenced from any of the gossips which is happening around. So sometimes there is a fluke statement, there is a hoax statement, there is a wrong statement as far as the formal communication is concerned onto the informal communication. So then also it is a very problematic situation, and people will get influenced, they will get carried away by the gossips which are happening, or the interactions or the communications which is happening across that particular group. Now let us do another concept of cohesiveness and productivity. Cohesiveness is the degree to which the members are attracted to a group and they share the group goals. It represents the attraction of the group members towards one another in terms of loyalty and commitment to the group goals. Group cohesiveness provides a number of benefits, like group goals and the group norms can be achieved effectively as the members are loyal to that particular group goals and the leadership. Now, since we have a very positive empirical evidences to this effect, that if the group is cohesive, the productivity is going to go up. Why? Cohesiveness is a kind of a degree to which the people are connected with each other, they trust each other, they have a very good position, and they understand each other very nicely, and whatever one person says, the other persons also endorse that with the heart and soul. So if that is the situation, the cohesiveness is definitely going to enhance the productivity levels of the people, because they feel a part and parcel, they feel very connected to that organization, and of course it provides the benefits of achieving the organizational goals. Since they have the group norms, they have accepted that group from the heart, so the people are very loyal to that group. So the result is that the productivity moves on, or there is an enhancement in the productivity. A highly cohesive group perceive the management as a supportive to the group goals, and therefore it performs better than less cohesive groups. The members communicate with one another freely and frequently and misunderstand each other's feelings, and understands there is no scope of misunderstanding, but there is an understanding of each other's feelings, emotions and behavior patterns. The members collectively indulge in a problem solving and decision making. This provides them the higher job satisfaction than members of less cohesive groups. Members develop the mutual trust and confidence, leading to a strong interpersonal relationships. The membership of cohesive group is stable. Members are therefore willing to accept the innovations and the change. So this is the beauty of the group cohesiveness, that whatever the leaders they want to initiate in that group, they can very well easily do it. If they want to initiate any kind of a change, they can do it. If they want to initiate any kind of a philosophy, they can do it. If they want to initiate any kind of change in the strategies, they can do it. Because people, in any case, they are 100% devoted to that particular group. So this is the overall advantage of group cohesiveness, which has a direct impact on the productivity levels of an individual. Now definitely, what are the factors because of which there is a cohesiveness in the group? So let us do this in detail. Number one is the similarity of interest or homogeneity. Similar attitude, values, beliefs and interest of the group members, they increase the group cohesiveness. It also improves the communication and mutual understanding among the group members. There is an intergroup competition the intergroup competition where two groups compete with one another to react the common goal increases the group cohesiveness among members of each group. The basketball championship, for example, increases the cohesiveness of both the teams to fulfill their desire to win the match. So the most important thing when you talk about the factors affecting cohesiveness, first is the similarity of interest. There has to be homogeneity of the interest for a group to be cohesive. If there is heterogeneity of the interest, they will never get connected to each other. So to have the common parallels, to have the common interest is definitely of primarily the most important thing for a group cohesiveness. Number two is the intergroup competition. The intergroup competition also inculcates the feeling of cohesiveness because you are a part of that team, the other person is a part of another team, so you get connected to a particular team. So the team spirits develops. The third factor is the interaction. The group cohesiveness increases if there is a strong interaction of the group members. There is no communication gap. So this is definitely going to increase the group cohesiveness. Number three, the group goals. The group goals, they are the common, they are very clear, they are attainable and challenging. The group members unite to achieve them successfully. This increases group cohesiveness. Successful achievement of the group goals increases the group cohesiveness. The next is your group size. Though the term size is relative in nature, groups which are small in size are comparatively more cohesive than the people who are in a bigger groups. Members of the small group interact with one another more closely to achieve the group goals. The next important factor which is responsible for the group cohesiveness is group atmosphere. A group which has a friendly and the cordial atmosphere with high level of interpersonal attraction and consensus of opinion among the group members increases the group cohesiveness. Next is your group structure. A well-structured group where every member has specific and a clear role to perform is more cohesive than the group where the members are not clear about the roles they have to perform. So let us have a recap of what we did as far as the factors of cohesiveness is concerned. The first factor discussed was a similarity of interest. The second is the intergroup competition. The third is interaction. Fourth is group goals. And the last is group size. Then we have another two important factors, the atmosphere groups and the group structure. The last is your leadership and social acceptance. A good leader, a group where the leader is competent, decisive, he promotes the proactive and participation of the members. As far as the decision making is concerned, they are more cohesive than the one with a leader who is very weak and autocratic. Nowadays, there is no space for any kind of a person who is autocratic in nature because we are living in a democratic society which is of the people, by the people and for the people. So any group whose group leader is democratic in nature, that group is definitely going to perform better than a person who the group leader of that particular group is autocratic in nature. The last and the most important factor affecting the group cohesiveness is a social acceptance. A group that satisfies the social needs of its members is more cohesive than the one whose members are not rewarded in terms of the social acceptance for their contribution to the group goals. So here are the most important factor, that is the social acceptability. If you try and solve the persons who are in your group, all the problems, all the basic needs of that particular group, that group is definitely going to outshine, that group is definitely going to outperform, and that group is definitely going to be a success as far as the achievement of the formal goals are also concerned. Then there is definitely a very important linkages of a group cohesiveness with the productivity. Now, as you all know, the productivity is very, very important for the organization. It's a very important parameter for the organization. The groups perform the following process and the functions to improve the organizational commitment, productivity and performance. First, assignment of roles. In the formal groups, the roles are defined by job titles, positions, and in the informal groups, they are defined by their expectations and perceptions of the other members. The group members perform the following roles: task-oriented roles, relation-oriented roles, self-oriented roles. When you talk about the task-oriented roles, These roles expect the group members to perform organizational tasks and keep other members focused on getting the work done. So here the focus of this particular task oriented role is to complete and conclude the task which has been assigned to people. Next is your relationship or the relations oriented roles. Here, as the name suggests, the roles expect the group members to offer the ideas and the support other people's idea. The next is your self-oriented roles. These roles define the members' expectation to do something for themselves. They may or may not support the formal and task-oriented roles. So these are the various types of roles as far as the productivity is concerned. The members perform their roles in a very different way. There is a clarity in defining and the degree of the different roles of the group members, which results in the higher performance of that particular group. So we have seen here that what are the parameters which are responsible for productivity, and definitely the kind of clarity in their role responsibilities which is assigned on the three bases: on the basis of task, on the basis of relations, and on the basis of self-orientation. Now let us talk about the group norms and conformity. Now there are group norms. The group norms are acceptable standards or expectations shared by the group members. They may relate to factors like output levels, absenteeism, promptness, dress, loyalty, socializing on the job, etc. Norms can also define the dress to be worn by the group members, working hours on weekends, etc. Norms have a very powerful influence on the members' performance. Members do not perform the way they want if the group norms provide otherwise. So there is a conformity as far as the group norms is concerned. Every group, it entails its own forms. They frames their own norms, and to make them understand and acceptable is the job of the leader of that particular group. The norms are most important for the smooth functioning of that particular group. If the group particularly norms want the particular person to be dressed in a certain way, so everyone will accept that norm because they are a part and parcel of that group, and to accept and to get it function, the group norms is the prime responsibility of every member of that particular group. Now definitely the group norms are most important for a good functioning of the group. So what is the purpose of the group norms? Let us do this in detail. The group norms serves the following purposes. They define the members' acceptable standards of behavior. They promote group cohesiveness by limiting the members' performance. They allow the members to behave in a consistent, uniform and predictable manner. They promote discipline in the group activities. They promote group culture and allow members to socialize and interact with one another. They provide order to group activities by restraining the members' discretionary powers. They ensure the group effectiveness and survival. Now basically when you talk about the group norms, they ensure that there is a uniformity going around in the group. Everyone accepts that particular group and everybody wants to have those acceptance of those groups, and they follow those norms as far as the functioning of the organization is concerned. So it brings uniformity, it brings clarity, it brings enhancement in the productivity, etc. So to have a very clear-cut norms is very important for the functioning of that particular group. Now not only the framing part, whatever are the group norms, they must be efficiently endorsed also, they must be efficiently practical also, and there should be a proper enforcement of these group norms. So there is a difference in the planning and the execution. The planning forms the part of the making of those group norms, and enforcement will ensure that all the group norms are initiated in this regard. The group norms promote conformity. Members align with the group activities and conform to these norms. Group norms can be enforced in the following ways. The members voluntarily conform to norms as they want to be accepted by groups. Rewards like recognition, esteem, appreciation, acceptance, social satisfaction, they make the members conform to such group norms. Members' desire to retain and strengthen the group membership makes them conform to the group norms. As against the reward for conforming to such group norms, penalties for non-conformance, disapprovals, social boycott, loss of membership. They also make members conform to the group norms. They want to avoid the penalties and therefore conform to the norms. Now sometimes there is a problem as far as the enforcement of the group norms is concerned, which is a serious concern. So the leaders of that informal groups, they must make sure that the enforcement is done in a right direction. The enforcement is done by the group as a whole, and if there is any issue, it must be solved there and then. Now the group norms are also important because they help us in the decision making also. The group decision making is the most important circumstance, is better than individual decision making. Now if you compare the decision making of individual and group, definitely the group decision making is much better than the individual decision making. Why? Because there are so many people in that group, they will apply their own comprehension, they can apply their own mindsets, they have a different upbringing, they have a different mindset. So if everything is culminated together, so they are able to take a very good decision making as far as the group is concerned, because they are all the members of that group, and to actively participate in the group decision making is primarily the most important duty of every member of that group. So groups spend substantial time in formulating the problems, finding solutions and their effective implementation. Group decisions involve superior and subordinate and reflect diverse, open and new ideas. Now when you talk about the group decision making, the group decision making is primarily the most important aspect of the informal group and the group dynamics. Because when you talk about the group decision making, there are so many people who are a part and parcel of that group. They will apply their own knowledge, they will implement whatever they have, whatever is their mindset, and they are very welcome. I mean, they are having a very good approach as far as the solving of the group problems is concerned. So the decision making is very important aspect, and if you compare it if you take it on a relative terms, individual decision making is definitely not that good as the group decision making. Now group decision making has the following benefits. Decision making collects more information and decisions, and therefore it is scientific and accurate. Members bring diversity of experiences to decision making process that one person cannot. Group members arrive at decision through group thinking and are therefore more morally committed to implement those decisions. Group decisions have high chances of acceptance to solve a particular problem. Now when you talk about the group decision making benefits, number one, here the people have their own different levels of knowledge. They will apply that. It is more deep in nature, it is more comprehensive in nature, and the people who are a part of that group will put in and bring in their experiences also as far as the decision making is concerned, which an individual one person cannot bring that. So a group decision making is for sure better than the individual decision making. They arrive at a group decision making process, which is a think tank for the organization, and a think tank can think better than an individual. So that is the comprehension behind it. And of course, when you talk about the group, there is a continuous interaction among the members of the group. They feel connected, they feel they have, because of the varied experiences, so definitely there is an improved communication which takes place. There is a more coordination amongst the activities of the group members. It enhances the subordinate creativity to implement the quality decisions. Decisions are more logical and methodological to deal with the complex business problems. It generates the multiple alternatives to the problem. Members from the diverse areas like accounting, finance, R&D, marketing, etc. They reflect the diverse perspectives that generate the multiple alternatives from which the best alternatives are chosen by the group members. Now, group decision making suffers from the following limitations. 1. It is costly. 2. Some members agree to group decisions even when they do not wish to do so, so their heart and soul is not a part of it. They feel pressurized. 3. Some group members dominate others to agree with their point. So there is a social pressure which leads to acceptance of the alternatives which all group members do not agree to dominantly minority can have excessive influence on the final decisions. When all the group members put forward their arguments, the groups do not arrive at any decision. Disagreement and disharmony amongst the members leads to interpersonal conflicts. It is difficult to fix the responsibility in group decision making. Group members share the responsibilities, and if the decision making fails, the members alone one another for the wrong decision making. So when you talk about the group decision making limitations, so this is one of the limitations, that you feel pressurized that the other members are following, so you also have to follow, whether your mindset is with that or not. So this is a most negative thing as far as the group thinking is concerned. And of course, you do not want to end up into an argument, and you always want to associate with that particular group. So by not your heart with that part, you always try to say yes. Otherwise, your heart says no. So this is another problem in that particular group. So when the group members, they put forward their arguments, the group do not arrive at any decision. There is a disagreement, there is a problem, there is a disharmony, and all the members who are leading to the interpersonal skills can also have a conflict situation, and to solve that particular conflicting situation is again a difficult task for that particular organization. So let us have a complete recap of the group norms, etc., and all the concepts which has been been discussed here right from the very beginning. So first we discussed what is a group about. The group is a collection of the people with the same mindset. They have a particular, mindset in terms of, same level of thinking level, etc. So we talked about the developments, 5-stage development process. The first was a forming stage. The second is a storming stage. The third is a norming stage. Fourth is performing stage, and the last stage is the adjourning stage. So let us do these stages one by one. Forming is when the members get to know each other and they seek to establish the ground rules. And in the storming stage, the members come to resist the control by the group members, and they show the hostility. Third is the norming stage, in which the group norms are formed, and together they form a part and parcel of that group. The performance stage, in which all the people try and perform those particular aspects which they are supposed to do it. And adjourning stage, the group may discard either their goals or the members, they come and leave. So we talked about here certain types of cohesiveness. The cohesiveness is a kind of a stage in which the people have a connectivity. There is a kind of we concept is there, we will. There is a concept of team spirit behind it. So all the members, they feel get connected. And as far as the group cohesiveness of large and small groups are concerned, the small groups are more cohesive than the large groups. So this is a major limitation. And of course, there are certain reasons for group cohesiveness because of interactions, because of the personal goals. So you feel connected to that. Then we came on to the features of informal groups. Informal groups are formed spontaneously. They have certain common and the shared values. They feel connected to that particular group, and there are no contradictions because you accept certain people as their leaders. And of course, the management of the informal groups must be in the hands of the good leaders and should be for the benefit of the that organization as a whole. And as far as the groups influencing the members are concerned, they must influence each other in terms of positively, and as far as the negative aspects is concerned, the group members they impact the people positively also and negatively also. So there are plus and the negative aspects of this, and of course there are certain factors to this effect which have to be kept in mind very clearly. And then there is a concept of productivity. Productivity is task oriented, relationship oriented and self oriented, and there are certain group norms. The formation of it is important, and enforcement of this is also very, very important. So thank you so much.
With this note, thank you, ma'am. Thank you so very much for giving us a very, very vivacious session on group dynamics. And dear friends, we believe that the lecture might have appeared very, very beneficial to you. And if you have any queries or you would like to give your feedback, then mail us at info.cec@nic.in. We would be meeting again tomorrow and would be discussing on new topic. Till then, take care. Goodbye. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you once again.